All right, we are live. Hi, everybody. I'm Coach Dennis Stoika with Modern Air Warriors. Welcome back for another amazing podcast that we're going to have. Hey, as always, we bring on like-minded people, whether that's people that are doing coaching, performance-type coaching, life-type coaching, doctors, etc., right? People that are doing martial arts, whether that's Krav, whether that's Gracie Jiu-Jitsu like we have today, Marco on today for self-defense, fitness, nutrition, diet, exercise, all that amazing, great stuff. Today we have Marco, who's very close, by the way, to me too. I'm out here just inside West Virginia, and Marco, we're easily, I don't know, it's just over maybe 30 minutes from where we're at together. So hey, Marco discovered Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in 2001 and experienced a positive transformation in his life, not only physically but also on the psychological level. He took his first jiu-jitsu class in his hometown, Trujillo, Peru. His first instructors were professors Pablo Salvatierra and Julio Zegara, who taught Marco solid concepts of judo and jiu-jitsu. Their example and knowledge made Marco realize from day one that he was going to dedicate the rest of his life to practice the beautiful art of jiu-jitsu. Upon moving to the United States, Marco continued his training at Fightworks Jiu-Jitsu Academy in Sterling, Virginia, also locally, at a Helson Gracie affiliate, under the guidance of professors Dan Wallen and Tony Waldecker. Marco also had the pleasure of meeting Grandmaster Helson Gracie and taking many private lessons with him also. This is where Marco's Jiu-Jitsu grew and developed, receiving his brown belt in 2011. Grandmaster Helson Gracie had been a great example to follow since the beginning, and Marco is deeply thankful for all his teachings. In 2015, Grandmaster Helson Gracie promoted and awarded Marco his black belt. Additionally, Marco also had the honor of training with different members of the Gracie family, to include Professors Hiran and Henry Gracie. Marco attended the Gracie Academy's instructor certification program in 2011. Also attended myself at one point, very, very early on, the first one ever. But Marco attended in 2011 in order to become a better teacher. Marco officially opened Mastery Jiu-Jitsu Academy in February of 2012 in Leesburg, Virginia. His mission is to create a positive impact on people's lives through the practice of jiu-jitsu, especially to those who need it the most, the weak, the unathletic, the introvert, and the bullied. Finally, the impact of this amazing art has been so profound and positive to Marco, he has decided to dedicate his life to share with the people of his community the benefits of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. He's honored to have the opportunity to do so and to help keep the vision of Grandmaster Helio Gracie alive. Wow. Hey, Marco.
How's it going, Dennis?
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, I love doing these. I do about one a month on average. We're in year 3 doing it, and again, it's about bringing on like-minded people that are doing the same things. It's not just jiu-jitsu; it's the means of becoming physically, mentally, emotionally stronger. Like you said, it's not just jiu-jitsu. It can be for getting people in shape so they're healthier, right? But you use jiu-jitsu to do it. And of course, we're passing on, none of the stuff that I know. I discovered, we discover things. It's the laboratory, but we're helping move other people's teachings along too. Helio Gracie's dream alive, etc. So, Marco, my first question, and anything you want to add additionally to bio, but it leads into the first question: who is Marco Moreno, and what is your why? And when I say what is your why, what is your purpose? What is your passion? What are your principles? What do you have to add in addition to kind of what I've already thrown on the table?
Who's Marco Moreno? That's you can you can approach that as philosophically, like who's Dennis Stoika, right? Like I guess most people, when they ask that, they are referring to like all the labels on top, right? Like I'm Peruvian. I could be Peruvian. I'm a male. I'm a father.
Yeah.
You can be a lot of things, but I guess
a coach.
What is a coach? Yes. What is the essence, right? I guess that's the real question. What are we as in essence? And I guess yeah, people do a lot of things trying to find themselves, right? People go to the Himalayas to find themselves, like they want to know who they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we strip everything, and then what are we, right? I guess if that's what I'm saying, is philosophical. I feel like this is what I choose to believe, is that I'm a spirit, um, that is being put in this material dimension in the form of a body. Maybe there is a grand plan, right? But I think the idea is to be someone who can tune in with the positive part of whoever created this dimension. That's why I didn't want to get too philosophical.
No, but it is.
But
It's
who's Marco Moreno, a spirit, I guess,
Marco.
who
It's a deep question, right?
embodied
Yeah.
this sack of skeletons and skin, and it's just trying to be like an antenna for spreading the positive, I guess, because this world has a lot of negative things and a lot of positive too. And which team are you gonna be?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm trying to do the right thing, and it becomes with a lot of learning. You have to make a lot of mistakes first to find the right path.
Mm-hmm.
So
So again, not just physical, not just mental, not just emotional, not just health, right? It's a lifestyle that we're living, right? Positivity. And then when we break down the why, purpose, passion, and principles can be a little bit what you're hitting onto. So I mean, who is Marco, like you said, right? Or who is Dennis? I'm a male. I'm in my 50s. I'm white.
yeah,
I'm a career
yeah.
law enforcement, right? So we're all those basic things. We're mortal. We're going to die someday, right? But then who
Hmm.
are we? Like the vision, the principles behind us, and what we stand for. So a lot of what I'm hearing is that love for living life at its fullest. I'm hearing you say too, right? And being positive about things. So hey, and we live in a world of negativity. So especially the last
Yes,
few years, it's still coming out of COVID, right? People are we're still making
a lot of mental health. Have you noticed
yeah,
that?
a
A
lot of
lot of
mental health
mental health
issues. Yeah, a lot of
issues
mental health issues.
in
So
kids.
right.
I've seen it in kids.
Yeah, and I know you teach kids too. That's a a huge portion.
Hmm.
So hey, what is Mastery Jiu-Jitsu? What is the academy? Tell me about the academy. What is it?
My academy started as, actually, the name was the Basics
Mm-hmm.
Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I was an affiliation under Helson Gracie and also under Hiro and Henner,
Mm-hmm.
Gracie University. And after 10 years of running the school as the Basics, I decided to create my own, go on my own. I'm still associated with Helson Gracie,
Mm-hmm.
and I do a little rebranding. So I switched it to Mastery Jiu Jitsu, and I had a little situation with the name The Basics. Is that some people will come and say, "Hey, but so you only teach the basics here?" And the answer is yes. I teach a lot of the basics, and I am believer of the basics. But I guess where they were coming from is like, you just teach for like until like blue belt level, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that you can master the basics to the point, like you can be a brown belt, a good black belt. Like the basics can be performed. You can be talking about advanced basics, right? And I also teach, like I try to be familiar with the new stuff, that jiu-jitsu is so creative. There are always new techniques coming up, and I also teach that. But when I was rebranding, I say maybe let's switch the basics, because it's getting a little bit confusion, creating a
Yeah,
little bit of confusion. So
I
I
can see
switched it to
that.
mastery.
I can see that too, right? Explanation I had today. We did testing in the gym today, and there is you can have the exact same technique, the exact same defense to an attack. But unless you're training martial arts, or maybe you just have to be an instructor too, right? It can be the exact same defense that one student uses, and then another student uses almost the exact same thing, but they make a minor adjustment. I refer to that as like black belt level. So there's like purple, like blue purple belt version, brown black belt version. It could be just on how we're using pressure or leverage, or just a small change, right? Too, and it's still the basic technique.
Yeah, right? And a lot of those little adjustments are not even taught. Sometimes it's something that because you just been sparring for so much, you being, for example, you got on the mount position, and you always get rolled, and then one day you decide to shift your weight a little more this way, and now you don't get rolled so much. Like you just discover that nobody told you that, and it becomes
learned it,
just something that your body learned. It was not even intellectually, it was a body knowledge.
So this question was not, and I always go over questions a little bit, so we know what we're going to talk about or what we want to address, and really is try to maximize our time. But here's an extra one for you too, and I would love to ask. I've asked Moni Isaac, the founder of Commando Krav Maga, this question in the past. He's also a 7-time judo jiu-jitsu champion of Israel, 6 as a kid, if you will, and 1 as an adult. Carlos Newton was his former UFC heavyweight champion. Joel Gershwin is a judo fighter in Canada, and he has a silver medalist at the Olympics too, right, in judo. So amazing coach. And I loved it. I should have always asked the following question to more people, and I'm gonna ask this more when I have other jiu-jitsu people on. How many jiu-jitsu techniques, right? You're black belt. How many does someone need just to be good?
So just to be good depends. Just to be good at defending yourself, you don't need many techniques to be able to protect yourself in a street situation. To be good to defeat another jiu-jitsu guy, you probably need a little more techniques,
Yeah.
To compete, to go into the highest level, you have to know a lot you have to have a bigger range of techniques to apply, because sometimes in this, like you see, for example, the Danaher squat, right? Those guys came up with everybody knew leg locks, but Danaher put it into a system of leg locks and different setups. So when his students went to compete, they were catching people because they were unfamiliar, So now you go to if you want to be an Abu Dhabi champion, you have to know leg locks, at least defending leg locks.
Sure.
So
it depends what the focus is too. So
yes.
The question I guess can be different, like whether it's the average person to defend themselves. I know, like the Valenti brothers, I still teach something very similar to what Helio Gracie taught. Like it's 100 techniques, self-defense type techniques. So they're for the like blue belt program, right? Even the Gracies have, I think when you add it all up, it's almost 90, 88 pieces, something like that. They're blue belt. And I know others that are kind of like doing their own thing now, your own program that you put together. Others that I know in the business too that have gone off to create their own blue belt programs. It's kind of Pedro Sauer. If you actually add his up to, it's somewhere in that range. Also, I think about under 100 type techniques for at least a blue belt.
I agree with that. Like that number sounds good. 70 to 100 techniques to be very good at the basics and defending yourself and have a great knowledge of the fundamentals of jiu-jitsu.
And then I look at it too, just for, I think, perspective too. I think you're looking at virtually almost doubling that, because then you learn the counters to the things that you learned as the basics too. Almost doubling it, probably at least another at least, if there was 100, maybe at least 50 more, because you're learning counters to at least the attack. So
you just remind me of a story that Master Helson Gracie always tell. He said he's gonna write a book, and his book is gonna have 4 pages. The first page is the pisao and the clinch. The second page is the takedown, the leg hook.
Uh-huh.
The
And the
third page
mount.
is gonna be the mount,
The mount. Yep.
and the last page is gonna be the back and the rear naked choke. And for him, that's it. That's the end of his book.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Right. So that
So the lesson there is that he has stripped jiu-jitsu so much to his basic core that if you apply everything correct, you don't, according to Helson, and I think he got this from Elio, you don't need escape for the triangle. You don't need escape from side mount. You don't need escape the arm bar. When we ask Helson, what do you do when somebody got your arm and you're holding your arm? It's like, that's too late. You know, no. Why you make so much? So in his purest forms, he doesn't make mistakes. And if you practice enough and you are sharp, that's gonna be the sequence: the pisao, the clinch,
Understood.
take down, the mount. Maybe finish there, but he said that everybody's gonna turn, so you're gonna choke them. So that's his basic.
I love it.
Jiu-jitsu.
Hey,
So
and thanks for
you're
sharing.
probably
This
gonna need only, according to Helson,
a handful of techniques. Moni Isaac, the founder of CCAM, and again, coach for UFC heavyweight fighter, once told me, at least for the ring, right? Not necessarily jiu-jitsu tournaments, because you would need even more. Lots of, if it's just jiu-jitsu on jiu-jitsu, right? But now we have someone punching you, we have someone kicking you, right? We have jiu-jitsu being involved in the ring. He's like, hey, you need to know 50, 60 very well. 50, 60 techniques to be in the octagon. So I don't know. I kind of think that's probably pretty close to great. Obviously, if you know more jiu-jitsu, fantastic, right? But there's been many UFC fighters too that didn't have like the greatest grappling background, right? And they work with experts, other coaches, right, to develop those skills to go in the octagon too. So,
yeah, awesome. Nowadays the UFC has transitioned more into striking, a lot of striking and wrestling.
Yep.
You have good Muay Thai, good wrestling. You're good. Jiu-Jitsu guys are there, very few. Of course, you have to know to defend, to stop the techniques. But let's say like that guy who just fought Kron, he only had to know enough to not get caught on the guard,
to not get caught,
and then he will stand up and then will like punch, strike with Kron.
Yeah. So. All right. Hey, let's move on. Why should someone consider training Gracie Jiu-Jitsu or Jiu-Jitsu?
Jiu-Jitsu, well, my experience was a very transformative experience. When I was in my early 20s, I was not taking care of myself. I was partying a lot. I felt like I was going the wrong path in a way, wasting my life away. And I somehow end up walking into I knew inside it was more like an instinct for me to do a change from the path I was going. And I guess I was thinking about getting in shape, and I wasn't really attracted about going to the gym. And I walked into this judo studio in my hometown, Trujillo, Peru. And then I took the first class, and ever since the warm-ups, when we start rolling and falling, and something happened there that my body started moving, and I was like, start feeling like the next day my muscles hurt, but I felt like an aliveness come to me, and I was like, this is it. And through the years, Jiu-Jitsu has helped me so much. As you mentioned in the introduction, I got in shape, which is always great. Health is amazing. Jiu-Jitsu keeps you accountable in terms of your health, right? If you eat a bad meal or poor diet, when you go to the mats, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel like extra tired, or you cannot move. Your brain tells your arm to move, and your arm wouldn't move. And when you are like lean and you have kept like a good sleep and a good diet, you're gonna feel like limber and sharp, and And the mats don't lie. The mats are not going to lie to you. They're going to keep you honest. So that accountability will help you stick with the lifestyle,
I love
right?
that. I love that too. I occasionally say things similar to that, like the weight doesn't lift itself, or the weight doesn't lie, right? Or the mat doesn't lie, just like you said, right? In other words, you got to put in the work, right?
Yes,
You got to put in the work.
100%.
You got to do it. Mm-hmm.
And
Awesome.
then the psychological level was just like just the people around you, like you're saying this podcast, you are inviting mind like people
Mm-hmm.
because they say you are the five people you hang out
Yep.
with, so in jiu-jitsu everybody's kind of like, okay, trying to better themselves,
Yep.
so you want to be surrounded by that
Mm-hmm.
energy, and
So
that
that's
affects you.
and what I'm hearing too, right? And it's martial arts in general can for people, right? It's just about finding the right one, or for what reason you're either doing jujitsu, krav, whatever. It could be tai chi, right? I mean, you're trying to find something that's at the end of the day, it's the tool. It's a tool, right?
Mhm.
That's bringing you to, I as in my coaching. I mean, you can call it whatever you want to call it. 1% better every day in every way, right? Towards mastery. Hence, the name Mastery Jiu-Jitsu is not just
Mhm.
jiu-jitsu; it's mastery of ourself, right? It's mastery of life. It's about continuing to
Yeah,
move forward
I
1%
have
better every
the
day.
tagline of my new school is Mastery Jiu-Jitsu, master yourself. But I might
Well,
change it. Some people don't like it. They say it sounds weird.
maybe you should give it to Helson so that could be the title of his book, the 4-page book,
Yes, yes. No, you know
5-page book.
what? He's never gonna write that
Yeah,
book.
I know that. All right, hey, um, should someone also consider adding other things in their life, whether that's a different martial art, fitness, firearm shooting, just for self defense purposes too? We haven't really
Yes.
talked about too much about that it's actually it does all these great things physically, mentally, emotionally, right, for our why or purpose in life, right? Making us better. It's a tool that we're using for that, but and when you're actually looking at self defense too, right? It's also self defense. It's teaching people how to defend themselves from what the like you said, right? The larger, the stronger, the more athletic, right? And in addition, why is it? I'll ask this. We'll change the question a little bit too. Why should someone use jujitsu, right? And then should they add any other things to their life too?
Yes, you should be exploring other martial arts and stick with what you like the best. I feel like every martial art has a strength in some areas. Judo are good at throwing with the jacket, but wrestling can throw you or take you down without the jacket. Boxing, you have good hands, good head movement. It's good to learn. Krav Maga, maybe self defense. Jiu Jitsu, I like it because first it's a little bit of a mix. Like I trained judo a little bit at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
but then my takedowns, and I never did wrestling, but I do have some single leg takedowns. It's a little bit of mix of different grappling arts, even like
Mm-hmm.
wrist locks, which we steal from Aikido, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
or Hapkido. And I like it because, first of all, it's kind of it's soft on your body. It's not like Muay Thai. I had a guy who went to Muay Thai and he couldn't do it because he was getting hit so much,
Mm-hmm.
and then jiu-jitsu was a little more, I mean, it's still a martial art. You're still gonna be pressure underneath somebody's weight, or somebody's gonna put you in
And,
a
and you and you
headlock.
and you're gonna feel it the next day, kind of like
Yes,
what I
yes,
heard
and,
you
and
say. The
it's
next
and
day, you're gonna
it's
feel that you worked your body.
yes, it's stressful on your joints, your neck. Sometimes feel a little bit
Mm-hmm.
um, that it hurts, but in overall, I think it's just something that is very less taxing on your body,
Mm-hmm.
versus these striking arts. For me, other people can have other opinions, but the thing I like jiu-jitsu also is the survival element. like jiu-jitsu puts you in the worst position, right? Like a bottom mount or bottom side mount, and then escape from there.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that philosophy coming from Elio Gracie, the founder of jiu-jitsu. Always saw jiu-jitsu as a survival
And that's for the
art.
fight. It's for the fight, but we'll we train. I know we train some of the same way too, right? Where you do positional type sparring. So like you start that's hey, this is where we're starting today.
Let's start on the bottom.
You start on the bottom, right? And that's what we're doing today, or side mount today, or whatever today, right? You'll start from somewhere for positional
And the
sparring.
beauty is that you can be dangerous. Like for the outsider, being on the bottom of the guard will be a bad position, but jiu-jitsu can transform that bad position into some position where from the bottom you can throw in a triangle armbar, surprise the guy with a choke, and the fight is over. So that's, I think, is almost like magical to me. When I saw Royce Gracie throwing armbars from the bottom, or that triangle against Dan Severn, I couldn't believe, and I was like so impressed by that, and I was like, I need to learn this somehow.
Learn that. Yeah. So I said this today, even with one of my students who's newer, as people were preparing the test today for our testing. But I'm of the opinion too, right? Even though my primary art is Krav Maga, but we still teach good grappling. We still teach good striking. And we do fitness. I teach people how to shoot that want to learn how to shoot. We do, we're integrated training. But I have always said, right? I don't care what, if you're just in karate, kempo, any other type of stand-up aikido, right? I strongly think that I don't even think you deserve a black belt in any of the stand-up arts until you actually have a blue belt level to be able to defend yourself on the ground.
That's a good point,
Yeah.
actually. Chuck Norris, I think, started incorporating grappling into his test for his black belts.
Makes sense to me, as you're well-rounded, right? And so
yeah. I think Bruce Lee started with this concept of just whatever helps, incorporate it.
Whatever helps incorporate it.
Detach yourself from the just this discipline, be open.
We're getting close on time. I want to get a couple more questions in here too.
Yes.
Right? A couple good ones and a couple funny ones. So I'm going to just pick up the pace here a little bit. But any quick word of advice, and you pick the demographic, whether it's the beginner, the woman, police, military, people out of shape, or an experienced person. And if you want to pick one or two, what nuggets of advice would you have to somebody in one or a couple of those areas?
All jiu-jitsu is good for everybody.
Yeah.
Women, they are the most affected, right? They're always gonna be targets. You have to be ready. Police, you are in the line of duty. You have to learn martial arts to protect yourself first, and to able protect the community, and to protect the guy who you are arresting, right?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Good training for them. The kids, oh man, so much confidence, so great activity, martial arts in general, and jiu-jitsu. If you're out of shape, learn jiu-jitsu. Don't wait to get in shape. That's a common.
That's a common one, isn't it?
I heard so
many times. If you're a coach like Mark with me and you own a business, I'm telling you, it is one of the top 5 excuses. Come on, one of the top 3 excuses. I got to get in shape first. Really, this is going to get you in shape.
Let me go get in shape, and I'll be back. They never come back.
They never come back. I get it.
I told them, bro, come here. You get in shape here by moving and learning your techniques, your jiu-jitsu techniques. So everybody should learn.
Who has or does inspire you? I don't know if that's Helson, Hiran Henner. You train with them extensively, your other coaches, right? And it doesn't even need to just, and I'd love to know seriously how much, whether if you want to even add that, like how has Helson helped really seriously? Because I know.
Well, I think through my journey, different people inspire me at different stages. I think I was inspired by Royce Gracie, and then I saw Rickson Gracie, that documentary Choke. Man, that was unbelievable. And then I met Helson, and I just saw Helson, how flexible it is, how fluid it is. And then my coaches, right, giving me the confidence to start teaching. My coach Dan Wallen gave me a class. You teach that class. That was my first time teaching, so he believed in me. Um, and then you see, I remember liking Marcelo Garcia, Roger Gracie. Oh, and then of course you mentioned Hiron Henner.
Yeah.
I had the pleasure of hanging out with Hiron a few times, and man, his mind is, he goes deep. You know, he has very unique approaches of life. So I was very influenced by him at one point, and also, you know, even beyond, like I see. You won't believe this, but I actually got inspired by Gordon Ryan because I do like his jujitsu, even though I don't like his trash talking the same way I don't like Conor McGregor. I feel like,
Sure. No,
but
I
at
got
the
you.
same time, I feel like they are in a business, and sometimes
They're kind of making their brand by being who they are, the way they are too. I think sometimes,
yes,
right?
but I do like his jujitsu a lot. So in
Yeah.
terms of who inspires me in jujitsu, and right now, for example, I just heard that Hickson Gracie's was diagnosed with Parkinson, right?
Really?
Yes, and then he said, "It's okay. I'm blessed. Thank you, God." It's just for me like, wow,
Yeah.
man, like that's gonna be a debilitating uh, illness, to the point he could end up like Muhammad Ali at
Yeah.
one point,
Yeah.
but he's blessed for that. And I was like, man,
I
that's inspiring.
did not know about that. Hey, one of the
Yes.
things too, and you mentioned it, it's in your bio a little bit too, right? So one of the things I think you would say too, and I'm blessed and very thankful for it too. I mean, the Gracies really taught me how to be a better teacher with their methodology, their teaching methodology, and I have no doubt.
Yes. I think Horion is
Yeah.
great teacher out of all the brothers.
Mhm.
And I think Hiro and Henner have learned all those
Yeah.
skills, and they are the best teachers. And then learning how to
Yeah.
teach. I forgot to mention my first instructors.
Mhm.
Pablo Salvatierra also inspired me. He still teach. Master Julio Segarra, he's a judo black
Awesome.
belt, still teaching. Still, like, he's probably 70, still put on his gi. So that's
Yeah.
inspiring. And of course, my parents, my mom especially, because you have to admire the effort they had, especially in a third world country like Peru, to get a family ahead is pretty
100%.
tough.
All right, and we're gonna move on for time purposes. We're a little bit over now. A couple last questions.
Yes.
One is about your business. We talked about you going online yourself and having videos, et cetera, for your students and others too, right? So where do you believe Marco Moreno, your academy and your training will be in 5 years?
So I have big plans in 5 years. Maybe next year I'm gonna expand my school. I have, you know, my school is small. I think it's time to grow. I was gonna do this, but the pandemic hit, so it postponed the plans. But that's coming up maybe next year, and then maybe opening a second location. In terms of, I think I prepared a lot of good instructors, and I think I have a few that can take over a
Nice.
second location. And then, yes, I was telling you about, I've been working on designing. It's called Mastery Jiu-Jitsu online platform. So anybody can go and check out the techniques. I feel like uh, at the beginning, the mission was to impact your community, the ones around you. But now with this new technology,
Broaden it out.
you can, yes, you can
Reach
impact
people.
other people, and hopefully, they feel the same benefits that I felt, and why not? And I think that's something that I've been working on, and I'm gonna have an announcement to do probably in the next month or so about my online uh, courses.
So everybody, make sure you visit Master Jiu-Jitsu as well, right? And you just Google that or masterjujitsu.com, right? A website too, and that will be released in the near few weeks. That like portal on that website. Awesome. All right. Hey, last question. Sometimes I love to just throw this one out. Who wins in the octagon? A 6 foot tall, 600-pound silverback gorilla, or a 10-foot tall, 1,500-pound Kodiak bear? 600-pound, big, strong, insanely strong silverback gorilla, or the 10-foot tall, 1,500-pound Kodiak bear?
I'm gonna go with the bear because I think bears are killers. I don't know if gorillas are mostly what I've seen. Gorillas are mostly for intimidation. They when they fight, right? When they fight, and then they just walk away.
Interesting. Yeah,
but I think the bear he just goes like the mama bear, right? If you mess up with a cub, you are done. The bear is gonna maul you. Have you seen the movie with DiCaprio? What's the movie?
No.
Forgot.
Yeah. Good one.
It doesn't come to me. Yes, he won the Oscar for that
Oh,
movie. He got mauled by a bear.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
The famous scene. Anyway, so bears are. I'm more scared.
They also have huge claws. That's
true. So I think the bear is gonna rip apart the gorilla.
So I've had more people tell me the gorilla is going to win, but I'm also the Kodiak guy. But I'm the Kodiak guy.
Actually, there's an interview, Lex Friedman with Danaher, and there is a similar question, but I think they had the anaconda, the lion, and the bear and the gorilla, and they go full like an hour analyzing each skill and why.
So one of my next podcasts, I need to bring on a gorilla and a bear. We'll bring both of them.
Man, somebody has to make it happen, man. We need to know for real, because at this point it's all speculation.
It's all good.
I do think the bear, though.
All right, hey everybody, we're a little over time. I love to try to keep these as coffee talks, 30 minutes, so they're digestible.
Bro, you should go an hour. Let's go for an hour.
I want to thank Marco for being here. Greatly appreciate you, Marco. I'll share this too, so you can put on your Facebook page as well too, right? But thank you for being here. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate it.
Everybody, if you're in the Leesburg, Virginia area, if you're in DC on vacation, you just come here, right? Leesburg is just outside of Washington, D.C., Baltimore metropolitan area too. Beautiful suburban location in Loudoun County, Virginia. And visit Marco. He'd love to have you. Whether you're training jiu-jitsu or not, right? If you're in, you're all part of the family. Come in. If you're here for a day or two, want to take one class, whatever, I'm sure he'd be very happy to have you, as myself as well, for Krav Maga and what we do too. So, but hey, thanks for being here, everybody. Hey, if you're locally here too, I always push, right? If people don't want my Krav, they want more jiu-jitsu, I push people to Marco and other people that I know, depending where they're at living too, right? Because we're all about sharing. And again, we're trying to grow. It doesn't matter whether it's Marco's business in Leesburg or me up here or whatever too, right? It's about growing people 1%. But I'd rather see someone go, if it's convenient to go to Marco, then go to Marco, right? And that's the way it is, right? So, hey, everybody, thanks you for being here. We greatly appreciate you as always. Until next time, you know the deal. Train hard, train smart, train safe, train real, and train for life. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in the next podcast. Take care.